Somebody asked me about the significance of the cross that we sisters wear in the community of St. John Baptist. We wear this cross, which is a silver cross. The front of it, you can see there's the Lamb of God, the Agnus Dei, and that refers to the Gospel of John, in which our patron saint, John the Baptist, pointed at Jesus and said, "Behold the Lamb of God." And on the back, we have the Christogram, IHS, which is actually an abbreviation for the Greek word for Jesus. And the reason that we wear a cross like this and not a crucifix goes back to the English Reformation. I don't have time to explain that whole thing to you right now, but basically it was in the 16th century when King Henry VIII broke with the Roman Catholic Church and established the Church of England with himself as the supreme ruler of the church. And this was part of a Reformation that was sweeping through Europe at the time, where a lot of monarchs were breaking with the church. Part of what Henry VIII did was he dissolved all the monasteries and convents in England and in some parts of Wales, and I think also in Ireland, so that for 300 years in our church there were no nuns, monks, and friars. But in the middle of the 19th century, a bunch of theologians and clergy at Oxford University started what was called the Oxford Movement. You can also look that up. It's really fascinating. And what they wanted to do was bring back some of the elements of what people considered to be Roman Catholic practices, like having candles, vestments, stained glass windows, things like that. And they also wanted to bring back religious orders because there were a lot of social problems. There was a lot of poverty that had been caused by the Industrial Revolution, and there were no nuns, monks. There wasn't this free labor force that other European countries had, that had Roman Catholic orders in their countries, and the English government couldn't afford to hire people to do this. So with nuns and monks, you have a free labor force who is committed to social justice. So they started to very quietly and privately establish religious orders, but they had to do it in a very careful way, because being too Roman Catholic at that point in our church's history could get your church burned down, you could have your church vandalized, or you could even be thrown in jail for being too Roman Catholic. There was a lot of hostility toward Roman Catholic practices, and that's why our cross is not a crucifix. This is a Reformation cross where it's focusing on the risen Christ. This is an empty cross. Christ has already ascended to heaven. The Roman Catholic practice, at least at that time, was to focus on the corpus of Christ and on the passion of Christ. But our sisters from the very beginning have worn this Reformation cross on our habit, but we've also worn a crucifix under our habits, because in the beginning we couldn't show a crucifix. It was too popish, it was too Roman Catholic, but we knew in our hearts that we were English Catholics and that we wouldn't be tempted to go back to Rome. So that's the story of our cross.